Riley. I'm an editor at Variety. I'm so thrilled. Well, if you're impressed by that, wait till you see who we have here tonight. I'm so thrilled to be here. I love this movie so much, and I'm so excited to welcome some of the people who made this movie possible. I want to start by introducing the film's director. Every time he makes a movie, these amazing performances come out of it. Movies like Carol, Far From Heaven, I'm Not There. Please welcome Todd Haynes. This amazing ensemble cast: Charles Melton, Natalie Portman, and Julianne Moore. Thank you all so much for being here, and congratulations. I mean this in the best way on a weird, funny, wonderful movie. This is actually an audience of your fellow SAG actors. So I always like I always like to start by asking, how did you get your SAG card? What was the job that brought that mystery look to you? I know you all have one because you're SAG Award winners, so they give you the card when you get that.
I did a movie called Tales from the Dark Side.
Yes, you did. I love that movie.
Yes, I did. It was in Yonkers, and it took me 2 weeks to film. I mean, I'd only been an AFTRA member up until then, and I turned into a mummy at the end.
Yes, you did.
That's what I remember.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, exactly. And Debbie Harry was in the movie, so that was really great. Yeah.
Natalie?
I was 11 years old, 1992. On Leon, the Professional.
Wow. Not even like a commercial or anything, just right into Leon?
I tried out for a lot of commercials and never got it done.
We'll keep trying.
Well, Todd, how about yours?
Yeah, actually, you've acted in some of your films, haven't you?
No, I haven't, but did I? I was in commercials when I was
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I did a McDonald's commercial when I was 7. Yes.
Child actor. And look at how good you turned out. Charles, for you?
I was 26, and I had this guest star on Glee in season 5. I think it was episode 5. 37 minutes in, 43 seconds. Don't blink, you might miss me. And I remember on Wilshire walking to the SAG building and getting my SAG card, and yes.
Oh, wow. Did you sing on Glee, or was it?
Oh, no.
Well, again, congratulations on a wonderful movie. It's very rare that you see a film and you think, I've never seen this story before. You know, it's completely and wholly original. The idea of an actress, shadowing the woman she's playing who has her own notoriety. How did the script find its way to you, and what interested you in making this film?
Well, it was Natalie. It was all Natalie, who was one of the producers on this film. And Sammy Birch's remarkable script was circulating and getting a lot of great word of mouth. And Natalie had just formed a production company, and they found it, and she somehow thought of me and reached out and sent me the script. This is right at the height of COVID in 2020. And so there was a lot of stuff we were all looking at, and we were all wondering when we get back to work, and I was reading more stuff than I usually do. But this script was extraordinary and had such a decisive and confident way of navigating all of this gray matter, all of this murky, morally complicated terrain, and doing it with that brilliant idea of it being 20 years after the tabloid event occurred, So it already created this sense of distance and space that had to be navigated, and there was this central character who was going to do the navigation and penetrate this household where it ended up being shot in Tybee Island, Savannah, Georgia. And I just was so impressed by what she had done. the tone that it conducted, and I figured this would be a tremendous and exciting challenge as a director to try to bring something comparable to a film version of that.
And Natalie, when you first read the script, were you reading with an actor's eye, a producer's eye, or do you always have both going?
Well, I think I read it with an actor's eye first. I think it was just immediately so clear how rich these characters were and how rare it was to find something that was so specific and so detailed and so complicated, where you never really know how you feel about any of the characters. And then, of course, yeah, I guess it was actors dreaming that led me to have the producer's eye, which I was like, I wish Todd Haynes would direct this. And then, of course, Todd brought along the dream of Julie and Charles. I mean, just like the best people possible to work with.
You do find your alliances shifting throughout the movie. I'm curious if even now, having made this movie and now it's complete, have your feelings on Elizabeth still shift?
Well, I feel like you can't really judge a character when you play it. You just have to kind of understand what they're doing at the time they're doing it, which also sometimes, like, I always find it really funny that so many acting instructions are like, figure out the motivation. I'm like, I don't know my motivation in life. Like I feel like most humans don't. So, I think just understanding what propels their actions, even though they might not be conscious of it. And I think that's how most of these characters are operating, which is kind of unconsciously.
Yeah, and they're fascinating. I never know what they're going to do next. Julianne, you're obviously a package deal with Todd. You've made so many wonderful films together. Is it a matter of he calls and you say yes before you even know what it is?
Oh my God! Listen, I mean, it's been the great miracle of my life to have this collaboration with him. I honestly can't believe it, because I was telling him that I walked by the building in New York where I first auditioned for him for SAFE, and I was like, I can remember going up there and how nervous I was and what I was wearing and all of that. So no, it's not a. I love the idea that people think we're a package deal, but I'm just so grateful every time he offers me a job. And this one came completely out of the blue. I mean, it really did. And he was like, Natalie Portman sent me the script, and I thought of you. What do you think of this? And it was amazing, astonishing, and really just another, great gift that came my way. But yeah. But yes, I'm always that. So it's not a fait accompli, believe me. It's like he has lots of people to choose from, so I'm very happy when he chooses me.
I mean, I feel like we're seeing improvement in roles, especially women's roles on screen, but when you get a script that has, an amazing, complex, fun role for a woman, and then there's two, I mean, what is your reaction? Do you immediately start thinking about who your co-stars could be?
This was astonishing, and Natalie and I have been talking about this today too. The fact that here's a relationship that's so intimate, so challenging, so unusual, and they're not related to one another. It's not a love story. It's simply two independent women and their interaction with each other, and it's combative and kind of I don't know, complicated and admiring. And when I think about Gracie's desire, so much for approval from this woman, she's saying, this is who I am. I want you to see me, but see me how I see myself too. So she keeps showing her, dropping all these crumbs about how she wants to be seen, and then gradually starts to crack under the pressure of actually being seen. Yeah. So that kind of challenge, to be able to play that with someone, to have that like in the makeup scene, to have that kind of intimacy with another actor, actress, is very unusual, as I think a lot of the female performers here would attest to.
And did you know each other well going? I just always assume there's like this club in New York where Oscar-winning actresses, show their card, bring your Oscar and get in.
We didn't know each other well, no, but we had met several times.
At the club.
Yeah, at the club. At the club.
I know there's a club.
I wrote Natalie an email after Black Swan because I so admired that performance, and I'd seen her around, you know, at the club and stuff. And no, but you'd see, you know, you honestly see people at like press events or screenings or something, but just socially. And I just was so blown away by that performance, and so wrote to her then. But we hadn't worked together, so.
Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, and I've admired Julie my entire life. I mean, it's just like film after film after film after film. It's so spectacular, and yeah, it was like I had to pinch myself every day that I got to work opposite her and with Todd, who's like, anyway.
I mean, your whole ensemble, every single role is so brilliantly cast. And Charles, you're such a discovery in this movie. I mean, this role and this character are so endlessly complicated. If there's a sequel, I could just follow him for a few more hours. Can you sort of walk us through? You know, did you get the script? Was it a typical audition, or did you know you were going to be sharing scenes with Julianne Moore and Natalie Portman?
I did know, and I was honestly every day pinching myself on set, working with these two masters, icons in their craft, and with Todd just leading the way. This was last summer when I got the audition. Laura Rosenthal, our casting director that Todd works with frequently, sent me signs, and it was kind of this 6-week process of taping. And I remember after I sent in my first tape, my team was like, "These are notes from Todd Haynes." And I was like, wait, did he typed these notes? And you know, it was kind of a process of really not trying to book the job, but more so kind of diving into the history of Joe and who this man was. And the next thing I knew, I was flying out to New York to do a chemistry read with Julie and Todd. I remember standing outside the audition room, and I heard Todd and Julie talking, and then I heard Laura talking. And I stood out there for like, it felt like forever, but it was like 45 seconds, and then I just went in, and then I kind of disappeared and came back out, and then found out that I got the job a couple weeks later, and it's crazy.
I mean, like I said, your whole cast is fantastic, but you have such a great eye for casting. You have since Poison, honestly, since all your movies. But this is a very tricky role to cast. What were you looking for or not looking for?
It was an incredibly tricky role. We knew it sort of occupied such a centerpiece in this script with these two incredibly strong and compelling and disturbing female characters at the center. And then this man who's sort of coming into focus, you know, to us as viewers and to himself as a person, as a man through the course of the film. And I saw some really interesting, Laura and I saw some really great actors read for the role. But Charles did something different from anybody. And there was this sense of somebody being formed in real time and sort of learning how to speak in real time. There was something so pent up in what he did and so minimal, you know. And I think there were places, we were moving very quickly at this point and trying to get this film made, very little money and time. And I think this is always the mystery and the wonder of filmmaking when it works out this way, his audition informed me about who Joe was. And in some places that I wasn't even that ready to look at, like the past story, I could all of a sudden see it with Charles. And so it deepened and it filled in the story for me, you know. And then we knew we had the answer for who would play this part and really bring it home.
Charles, did you come out of the room going like, yes, nailed it, or did you think you had botched it entirely?
No, it was, I remember walking out of the room. I've heard so many times, I'm sure many of you heard this, you know, just leave it all in the room. You know, just leave it in the room. And I don't think I've ever left it in the room. But this moment in that room with Todd, Julie, and Laura Rosendahl, our casting director, I walked out of that room feeling like, you know what? This whole 6-week process of taping and getting to know this character, that was enough. Like, this is the greatest gift I experienced up until that point in my career, personally. And then I got the phone call. And then Todd called me, and I remember seeing the area code for Oregon pop up, and I was like, oh my God.
503?
Yeah.
503.
Yes, and we talked, and I was just ready to just get into it. And we talked about how Joe would feel, and not so much what he would look like, but just how he would feel and how that would translate into just like his physicality and, you know, putting on, you know, just the physical transformation of just Joe finding comfort. Where does he find comfort, and where does he have time to find comfort? You know, he's his father with 3 kids, and you know, he's a provider, he's a great husband. He really doesn't have the time to go to the gym. And so that part of the process was really fun. I ate so much ice cream, so many pizzas. It was great.
I wanted to eat all those cakes you were making. Those looked amazing.
I ate a lot of that cake.
Did you really?
I did. It was delicious.
Julie Big Mom.
And Julie actually learned how to make the cake.
Yes.
Like when she taught me, she made the cake in real time in the scene, like while she was acting perfectly. I was like, what is this that I'm watching?
So the funny thing is people talk about like, you know, Natalie playing an actress who's coming to observe me in the movie, but I am an actress who had to go observe a baker to learn how to make and then go to the florist to learn how to make a flower arrangement so I could play a person who's being observed by an actress who's played by Natalie Portman who's observing me. You know.
I want a movie about the making of this movie. Actually, I heard recently, correct me if I'm wrong, but you actually shot this in 23 days? And yeah, we all felt that in our stomachs. I don't think any of you are strangers to independent filmmaking, but there's something you like about that style of working where you just have to get in and do it, or you know, would you always prefer more time and days?
I think you always want more time and days and resources, but something about those constraints put us all in the same time and place and meant that whatever ideas I had about the visual language of the movie and even the music that we ended up using in the movie were things that I needed to figure out quickly. And I wanted to bring everybody into that process because it sort of took all hands on deck to make that work. So every department head in this production and our producing team and our line producer and and Savannah, Georgia, and the community that we reached out to, and SCAD students who we figured out a way to bring into the production. And apparently, strangely enough, that was not a norm in Savannah for SCAD students to work on all the productions that shoot in Savannah. And D.W. Moffat, who plays her first husband, was the head of the film department, and we figured out a way to make an internship program available so students could get credit.
And D.W. Moffat and I were on a soap opera together.
As the world turns?
Yes, and he played my lawyer when I was on trial for murder.
One of the murders.
I had amnesia and it wasn't me. I couldn't remember. But anyway, so D.W., I love D.W., and there we were in Savannah. He's the head of the acting program, and he was brilliant. as my husband. It was just, you know, it was amazing. And also so amazing to that scene at the end where he walks in with my kids from the other marriage, and there's DW, you know, who I've known for all these years. So you have all this history, and yeah, I think all of the parts were cast impeccably.
Your son
Really.
in the movie.
Oh yeah, Corey Michael
Spectacular.
Smith, what a great actor,
Yeah.
right? And Gabriel
Gabriel
and
and Liz.
Lizzie and Piper as our kids, and the lawyer Lawrence. He's amazing. I mean, really amazing actors. Everybody was fantastic.
And you didn't get much rehearsal time, if any.
We really had no rehearsal time. Charles came a bit earlier, so he and I had the opportunity to hang out, spend some time together. The whole process of deciding on the wigs and the look and the color palette and all those things, of course, you have to start planning way in advance, so we were in communication constantly in advance. But because of that constraint, we just ended up having the most remarkable time together. And it meant that every minute mattered and everything was planned. And this style of shooting, which allowed these actors to live in these shots that hold and play into mirrors. And these two women are literally looking into the lens as the reflection of themselves, and it marks off the lens for the reflection of the other, and completely letting us all understand exactly what's happening and how, and watching the nuances of this relationship, this combative, strange, creepy, erotic, bizarre relationship
And
unfold
funny.
and funny unfold in front of you in real time. But those ideas are cool and great, but it doesn't work without actors like this.
I wanted to, sure, I'm not going to step on anyone's applause, especially actors. I want to talk about one of those scenes, specifically Elizabeth's monologue, because first of all, this is a masterclass in acting, and it didn't even occur to me that you're delivering it probably to a giant camera in your face. First, I'd love to know how many takes you did, and how did you prepare for that scene and chart? Like, she goes through so many nuances and transformations just in that one scene.
Well, it was, I mean, first of all, an amazing piece of writing that is like a rare moment where this character is alone. And so this movie, which is in many ways about performance, like it is a moment where it's this dual thing of she's performing a monologue, but she's, for one of the only times, without an audience. So she's actually not performing, and there's something incredibly like truthful and about that moment. And it was a gift that Todd chose to shoot it that way, because with the limited time we had, we were able to do many takes. So I think we did 8 takes.
Which was more than usual.
Yeah, but it was so fun to get to play, and so lucky. And we just tried, I mean, we knew it was only gonna be one take that would be used, so we just tried lots of different things that were more cold, more emotional, more varied, more sexual, and we just like got to play, which was super lucky. And yeah, I feel like that moment and then the moment in like the pet store like are like two moments where she's alone, and you kind of feel like in those moments you know her better than any other time, because she's, I mean, the two of them are like master manipulators and master performers who can like shift to whatever the situation calls for. And so it's like a pleasure when you get to experience them when they're like not trying to be anything for anyone else.
Do you remember how long the monologue was on the page? Like 3 pages, 4?
It was Charles says it was a page.
Just a page. I would
Just
just
it was a little more than that, but I might be wrong. A little more
But
than
like,
one.
One and a half.
Maybe. Yeah.
somebody.
I mean, it
called-
runs about 5 minutes.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's so. I mean, was it intimidating at all to know they're just going to hold on your face for 5 minutes?
Yeah. I mean, it was mainly like, I mean, I think mainly as an actor, when you have something like that, you're just like, how do you thread it from one thought to another so that it has logic and variation and isn't monotonous. Like you have to, find those kind of ebbs and flows. And but it was amazing writing. And also Julie gave me like the gift of all gifts when she like created this character that I was like drawing from, of course, that she figured out the character, and then I was like getting to mimic that.
Yeah. Actually, there's another meta level because you're an actress playing an actress following. It goes on and on.
There's many layers.
I do want to ask actually Julianne about the choice of the voice. It's so specific and says so much about this character. Like the moment you hear her, a light bulb kind of goes off.
It's always, there's that moment, I think, as an actor when you're trying to make a vocal choice, when you're like, oh, can I do this? Is that the right thing to do? First of all, technically, and because this is a group of actors, it's kind of important to say this, when you make decisions artistically, but you also make decisions collectively in film and within a film, I knew full well that there was something I needed to do that Natalie could do, right? And so, you start kind of thinking about it, and I'm not thinking, I know that that's a reality, but I'm also sort of like looking for Gracie. And in doing kind of my research and looking at a lot of our source material and stuff too, I did notice something in Mary Kay Letourneau's speech pattern. She doesn't have a lisp, but she did have sort of the way she held her mouth. And I was really intrigued by it. And because of her, Gracie's insistence on her kind of femininity and the childlike quality that she presents all the time, I wanted to kind of lean into that. So that's sort of where that happened. All of it, like the nap dress, with the fluffy, always the cap sleeves and the ruffles and stuff, and talking about how protected she was and her narrative of being a child almost. And so the lisp was something that kind of illuminated that, and then also worked for us technically too. Mm-hmm. But it is really scary because, of course, and then when I started doing it, Todd was like, "Are you doing a lisp?" I was like, "Yeah." Because we didn't talk about it.
Also,
we didn't,
this happened at lightning speed, where
so fast,
Julianne had to establish who this character was within the first days of her work. That had to be decisive, and we had these conversations about Mary Kay Letourneau, the research we were doing, and that sort of princess syndrome. So it all, and the color palette and the hair and all of these things were reinforcing these ideas, but it put a tremendous inordinate amount of burden on Julianne to come up with these decisions immediately as we were starting to shoot, and we began with that barbecue scene at the beginning of the movie when we were all together, so that Natalie had palpable, concrete things to start to build.
I heard the
performance.
I got something. We had no idea what we were gonna do because we didn't rehearse, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to act like her, but I don't know what she's gonna act like, and I'm starting to shoot, and you're like...
And there was a period too where we had all these scheduling problems, and it looked like maybe they were gonna start shooting with Natalie before I even arrived to Savannah, and Todd was like, so do you think you could Zoom with Natalie and just like do some stuff? we were just freaked out. We really didn't know. And then luckily, our schedule all kind of aligned. But there were lots of very, very rapid decisions in terms of behavior. And but Todd gives you so much context as an actor. I talk about this a lot, about the frame that you operate. And I know this because the 5 times that I've worked with him, he makes it so easy because I know where I am in time. I know where I am physically. I know what the shot is. I know what he's communicating with the shot. I understand, he shares with you all of his research, all of his ideas. So he communicates to me what he wants in everything that he does. So he gives me all of this information, and then I'm able to make decisions. You're never alone. You have so much support and so much. He makes everything very easy. It's like he does all the work, honestly.
I'm glad that you got there in time. In the meantime, Charles has been hanging out for weeks in Savannah. Was that to prepare for the role and kind of get a feel for the
Just to
area?
get acclimated
Yeah.
and get comfortable, you know. And I remember when everyone was talking about when they first heard you, Julie, the lisp. Everyone was like, "Wait till you hear Julie." I was like, "What?" They was like, "She's doing this thing." I was like, "What does it sound like?" And it was a very poor attempt at what Julie was doing. It was more comedic than anything, but
You really sprung it on them, just on set.
Yeah.
Wow.
it was great to get to Savannah, and I remember when I went to go see Todd, before I saw Todd, you know, everyone on the crew, they took me to the house in Tybee, and I was just kind of getting a feel for everything, and just kind of wanted to create kind of this sense of like home while I was there, because I knew it was going to just be 23 days, and that I was going to be working with Natalie Portman, Julianne Moore, and Todd Haynes. So my preparation was like, let me do whatever I can to really just give everything I got, really. And a part of that was going there early, and you know, yeah.
Yeah.
And also the way you opened up your house there to the kids and brought them into your life. That was really remarkable.
Oh, your kids? Your on-screen kids?
Yes.
You have teenage kids in this movie.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Yeah, I remember when I found out Gabriel, who plays our son, his first time reading with an actor was on Zoom, and it was with me.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then his first day on set was with Natalie and Julie and me and Todd, and I was like, man, you're just going downhill.
Yeah.
But you know, I would have them come over, and you know, I'm like, all right, these are your three options. Which movie do you want to watch? Okay, or let's order some pizza, and just, you know, having them. They didn't have laundry, and I had a washing machine, a laundry machine, whatever machine. I had them come over and do their laundry, and we would paint. You know, whenever I felt like painting, hey kids, you want to paint? Yeah. You know, and it kind of just really informed kind of the relationship, I think, when it came to set. And you know, Joe's kind of this, because he's so young, there's this arrested development, this adolescence that's still inside this man, this 36-year-old man, and just understanding what that relationship would feel like with his kids is, you know, almost like a dad friend.
Yeah.
In a way, and trying to impress them. So outside of, you know, I was trying to impress Gabriel and Lizzie and Piper as Joe, not myself. Maybe a little bit, but you know.
But at the end of the shoot, Charles did a drawing of a butterfly, and they all three got matching tattoos.
We did. I forgot.
You forgot you got a tattoo?
Well, no, they did.
We
got
did.
The tattoo.
He drew a tattoo. Oh my gosh!
Right?
It's right here. And I drew a tattoo, and they were like, "We should all get tattoos." And I was like, "What? Of what?" They're like, "Draw a monarch butterfly," and I drew a monarch butterfly, and I thought they were kidding, but then we all got matching tattoos.
Wow. That's amazing.
You got one too? I thought they just got one.
They got theirs first.
Okay.
And I didn't get mine. I'm kidding. I got mine.
Julianne, sounds like you're up next for the tattoo.
I have Natalie, right?
So do I. Well, again, this is such a fantastic movie, and the good news is it's going to be in theaters tomorrow, so please spread the word before coming to Netflix in December. Thank you so much for being a great audience. Thank you.